and welcome to another live stream with me, Christian Rauchenwald, to another episode of Daily Market Mastery on this, quite okay Thursday afternoon. I hope you all had a great week so far. As always, before we jump into it, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way first. Everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. Last but not least, as always, all the tools that I'm using, so the charting software, the broker, the strategy I'm using, and all the other tools I'm using and that you see in this live stream / video are linked in the description down below, so you can just follow those links if you want to learn more or download or use the same tools. That said, let's jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen. I know yesterday I mentioned today I might have time for a longer stream, but it probably will also be on the shorter side. I got a couple of extra tasks added to my list, or I added a couple of extra tasks to my list that I would like to complete. Therefore, we're going to try to cover the essential parts. As usual, GameStop. Yesterday, we assumed that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern. Our potential wave 5 reached its minimum target. As expected in the 25 point or above 25.16. It didn't reach the 100% target, but that's perfectly fine. Now visually we can already see, assuming that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that becomes a wave 1, we can with the naked eye already see an ABC corrective pattern that we may potentially already have here. If that is the case, we would expect to go up from here. Now, what points towards this being an ABC pattern finished is that we have visually a clear one, so down, up, down movement. We retrace to the 50% retracement overall here on the lowest point. For those of you that jump in for the first time, very often, but not always, so we're talking about probabilities. If we have an impulsive wave pattern, which is those 5 wave pattern up here that we assume or think that is here, then the corrective wave would retrace very often to the 38.2, 50, or 61.8 retracement area. That would usually be or the likely points of turnaround, so where the retracement finishes and we proceed with the next move in the impulse or in the overall direction. Now, we have two options here, as we pointed out yesterday, based on the bigger pattern. Either we're already done with the overall correction here, and we are now looking at the next wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, further upwards, or this pattern here will only turn into an ABC pattern, so 5 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves, before we get another push down to actually finish this overall corrective pattern. So I know it's a little bit nonsensical to have a trading stream that say, okay, the stock will either go up or go down, but the bigger point is, like, from here, I would actually expect it to go up more likely than not. So we see potentially ABC here, turn around at the 50% mark. So would more likely expect it to go up from here in another 5 waves. And the question then is just how high. If we are looking at a corrective pattern, so if the upwards movement that we currently see is just an ABC pattern as part of the bigger downwards correction, then we would expect to reach the areas of 25.71 first target area to 26.19, and that would be the more likely one in an ABC case, because wave C tends to, or often but not always, is identical to wave A. So you would expect to see something develop here like 1, 2, or like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to take us up here to almost 27. And if that is a corrective pattern, so we're overall in wave C on the way down still, then we would expect not to go much higher than that and then turn around from here. If, however, the correction, so the bigger correction is already finished here at that low point, then this would turn into wave 1, 2, and we would now get wave 3. And wave 3 would usually, not always, but often enough, reach the 261.8 extension level. So we would expect to bounce at the $30 mark. Yeah. Again, we would expect to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 develop to take us up here. In other words, if we are correct that this ABC correction is already the finished corrective pattern, it doesn't get dragged out by some sidewards pattern that basically turned this into a bigger combination corrective pattern and so on, then we would expect to at least go above 25.71. If we go above 27, then it points towards correction is finished here, and we will get 5 waves up, where wave 3 very likely, not always, but often enough, should bounce in the $30 area. Then we would get a wave 4 that retraces again a little, and then we would get a wave 5 that should then bring us above 30. Now, obviously, it's possible that wave 3 is not that strong, and we only reach the 161.8 or 138.2 areas, which would be a little bit problematic because it makes it harder then to differentiate or to be certain in quotes about the further upwards potential, at least short term, because then we obviously would still be in the area where also an ABC correction would need to go. Then it would mean, so if we only get into this area here, turn around here, then we'll have to wait and see where then the next push up starts to determine is this ABC, and we get another 5 waves down that take us closer to 20 in the, near future before we continue the journey up, or will we only get a small correction here if we bounce in that area and then get another push up to finish 5 waves up? So either way, the long-term outlook for me for GameStop is still bullish, considering that today is first day. I sold $30 call options, covered calls, Nvidia crosses certain price, okay. So there we might have finished the correction. We're going to look at that in a second. So either way, since I sold the $30 call options, and me and the 8-ball we are using predict that we will finish the week below 30, that would actually play in my favor because I wouldn't lose the 400 shares and would be able to sell covered calls for next week as well. Now we'll have to wait and see how that plays out, but that's pretty much how I see GameStop right now. So from the pattern, it's still possible that this is not the entire correction, but considering that we visually see a nice 3-wave pattern and we bounce exactly at the 50% retracement of this movement, I actually tend to say it is already the corrective pattern finished, which means we should get 5 waves up. And the question is just, will that 5-wave pattern here, will this be a 3rd wave? So 1, 2, 3, or is it a wave C of ABC? Because based on that, it will either go, as said, somewhere into this area or potentially more likely into this area. It doesn't change the long-term outlook, but so that's the case with GameStop right now. Now we want to look at SPY. There might have been wrong. I'm gonna have to check if my put options still have a positive value. No, likely not. Gonna be a tough choice. I mean, they were the $500 profit at some point, like here, but the decision was, I actually thought that ABC pattern here is finished, and from here we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that on Friday we're actually lower. There are multiple options. It's possible that the correction is already finished here, and we are now in the next 5-wave impulse up. So that's one thing, in which case my options tomorrow will have a lower value than today, and I will take a loss on them. It's also possible that we still get a turnaround from here. So I think the crucial mark here would be the 546.55. So I'm gonna move that alert here. If we hit that price level, it's still then also possible that this becomes an ABC because it's the 50% retracement level. It's a little bit of a dumb situation. I'm okay to take the loss here tomorrow, to be honest, as I shared before, because either I'm right and we have a decent profit on the trade, or I'm wrong and it's a loss. Closing it here for a small loss doesn't make much sense, because it just means if it then turns in the other direction, just lack of patience is the reason for taking a loss at all. Taking the profits like yesterday or 2 days ago early at a $500 profit also doesn't make much sense, because we paid $800 premium, and it would require us to be right way more often than we are wrong in the long run. So I think just sticking with my prediction here for now is the right thing to do. We'll just have to see how that develops. Right now, the tendency would be either I'm completely wrong, this will be in some form 1, 2, and we get 1, 2, wave 3, strong movement, 4, 5, and I might then today, before market close, be able to still close the position for a lower loss. Yeah, actually we'll move that to 547. 547.70, so the 61.8 extension. Or it turns into ABC, so a bigger ABC that I thought might have been finished already here, and will get then the push down here, and it tomorrow might still move into the break even or profit area. Yeah, so I have to wait and see. I mean, nobody is always right. It's always a hard choice to cut or to take profits early, when you then might miss out on future profits, or cut your losses when you then actually then just took a loss and then it turned around. This case, I have no reason to doubt my prediction so far. I see that there is an alternative pattern that would point towards it going against me. But the benefit and downside of options in this case is that our risk is completely limited to the option premium that I paid. And if we lose that, I'm okay with that. We're going to wait for the next possible pattern that seems to make sense to us, and then just start another options play. Now, we got the alerts for NVIDIA. NVIDIA, yeah, no. Oh, NVIDIA, yeah, here. And we got the alert for 140. Price crosses 140. We had 124. So, like, why did I get that alert? So, oh, it's the old alert from here, okay, and the other one is from NVEX, process 13, okay, so the NVIDIA alert is, yeah, I should have cleared the history. I'm gonna wait here further. So the idea here is that we potentially, sorry for the noise, military is training today a little bit. So the idea here is that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we're now getting a correction here. And very often we expect the 38.2 retracement to be the turnaround point, but we visually don't have a nice ABC pattern here. So it's possible that it bounces from here, and that actually was the correction. But looking at this, I'd rather expect it to at most have wave A finished. We still get to see a wave B, and then we get a wave C that might take us down into this area here. So we're gonna create two alerts here. One of them is gonna be at 17.89. So if we reach that, we have to consider that potentially the correction is actually finished, and we'll have to analyze it from here to here. We have some kind of impulsive pattern that makes sense. And the other alert is going to be at 1019. Where potentially we'll have the, maybe potentially, if that's wave A, we might get ABC and then get another push down that takes us till here, or even to the $8 mark. So those would then be potential entries here for Novavax Inc. But for now, we're just going to stay out of it. I'm going to clear the history so we don't have confusion about NVIDIA. But since we looked at it, we can check it again. As for NVIDIA, we are right now, in my opinion, either in wave B or already in wave C, which means we can, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that's not relevant anymore. But basically, we have 5 waves down from the looks of it, which would be the wave A of the correction. And then from here, we'll get our ABC move upwards. We see that we don't really bounce on a nice pattern. The question is that already wave B, or is that only A, B, and we still get wave C down here? Remains to be seen. And then under the assumption that we already finished wave A here, and that actually is already wave B finished, we would get another push up and would expect it to go the most to 137. I actually expected more to just go to 131 or so. So we're going to create an alert, 131.44. And on the other hand, we don't actually have a market, but we need an alert too. So 115 would be the other alert, where we'll measure the wave C endpoint. So either theoretically that could already be the entire correction, and we're now getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C. In which case we would cross 115, and then when that's visually on the chart for us visible, we could then try to determine the potential endpoint for that corrective pattern. On the other hand, it's more likely, I think, right now that that's wave A, B, and we still get wave C, at least till the 130 mark roughly. And that would potentially trigger this here, and we might then look into buying a put option, or at least keep an eye on it to see if we go further down here. Yeah. Overall, still, if we zoom out a little, we still expect the correction to not be finished. Now, it's possible that it could already be finished A, B, C, and that's the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 upwards, or 1, A, B, C, 3, 4, 5. But I think it's more likely that that was just wave A. We are currently experiencing wave B, and then we get wave C downwards still. And we'll see if we find a good opportunity there to trade that. Other than that, what else do we have? Nothing that really matters right now. I think the only important thing is to keep an eye on SPY, at least for me. So for my options, right now that push depends on where that goes. Will tell us if correction finished, we're going up, or wave A, wave B, and we get wave C. Depending on how that develops, we might take a loss on the current options, but might then just for next week or maybe for a longer expiration get options again. Obviously, as we are moving up, especially when we get when we predict the turnaround point right, we get relatively good prices for put options. But the one thing I'm still having a hard time since I started option trading is like determining the expiration date. So I think that in this case, we still will get a move down, but it's possible that we will not, or that move down will actually finish next week. So as said, might have a loss this week on the options. Have to set a reminder to today before market close, consider closing out the current ones, because tomorrow they obviously will drop in value. We can also, for that, as usual, 1 second, option strat, not manage account, save trade. So you can see right now it looks like this. Our break-even price at expiration would be that. However, today at market close, or 10 minutes before market close, it would look like this. So depending on where we are, we could today close them and depending on the pattern before market close. So if it looks like, okay, we will not have a drop tomorrow, it might then be smarter to take a $150 loss on this week's trade instead of waiting till tomorrow for an $800 complete loss, and instead then directly buy new put options that expire in, I don't know, 19th of July, for example. So in a couple weeks from now, to benefit from the correction that way. Anyway, with that, I think we've covered most of it. GameStop, we'll just have to wait and see. From the looks of it, we get a slight push up here, so I think that's going to be the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish a wave 1, 2, and then we get a push of 3, 4, 5. And then the question will just be, will we finish in this area set, or will we finish in the $30 mark? But again, I don't expect to crack the $30 mark by tomorrow market close. But yeah, remains to be seen. Interesting times to be alive and to be trading. Let's end the stream with, again, we asked the Magic 8 Ball the last couple of streams if GameStop will finish below 30. Let's ask it today again. So will GameStop close this week on Friday below $30? Ask again later. Okay, will GameStop close below 30 this week? Most likely, yeah. So even though it's completely random, for the last couple of days, the 8 Ball has been consistently confirming the question that GameStop will close below $30. So the pattern by now also would suggest it to me. So yeah, which I think it's good news for my trading account here. Long term, I'm still bullish. So and short term, it means some extra dollars to pocket. Anyway, so we're gonna end it here. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, like, subscribe, enable notifications, since the streams are not on fixed time, so you get notified when they happen. And I wish you all a pleasant Thursday, and then see you all potentially tomorrow. Not sure if I'll manage to stream tomorrow. Worst case, we see each other then on Friday. If there would be substantial strong movements in GameStop, I would come online later again spontaneously. But outside of that, next stream would then be on Monday. Yeah, so Monday, if tomorrow doesn't happen. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. See you then. Till then, bye-bye.